There you go.
All right, it's 7 p.m. June 14th, 2022, and I'd like to call the Town of Lake Mills public hearing at the Town Hall to order. Public comments on the proposed amendments to the Town Ordinance 6-1 Traffic Code. Notice is hereby given to the Town Board of the Town of Lake Mills, Wisconsin, that public hearing will be held tonight, amended by the Town Ordinance 6-1 Traffic Code. Drafted an ordinance was available at the town's website. The town board will adopt the amended ordinance at the monthly board meeting, which is tonight. First call for anyone that wants to speak on behalf of the traffic code. Going once, going twice. Second call for anyone that wants to speak on behalf of the traffic code. Once, going twice. Third call. Third call for anyone that wants to speak on the traffic code 6-1.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to adjourn the public hearing. It is 7:01 on June 14th, 2022, and I'd like to call the Town of Lake Mills Town Board monthly meeting to order.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
I would second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to adopt the agenda. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes from May 10th, 2022?
Motion to approve minutes from May 10th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve the minutes from May 10th, 2022. Approval of the treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
I just want to make a comment that our CD is due July 24th. So at the next meeting, I'll get from the bank the rates, and then you guys can decide how long you want to renew it.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve the treasurer's report. Approval of the town board expense sheets.
You don't have your expense form filled out, but you have these two expenses that Tom paid for. That'll be on next month's list for disbursements.
So you want us to sign this?
He handed those to me tonight, so
Oh.
there's not a check ready this month.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Okay. Want to see it, Dave?
Yeah, yes, cleaning tools.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. So we don't have to approve these now. You're gonna do those next month, or you wanted to?
Well,
Yeah.
you can approve it tonight, and then we can do the check next month.
Oh,
Either
okay.
way, it's gotta be approved, so.
I'll make a motion to approve Tom's expense sheet, or expenses.
I'd second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
I just have a question. Are these minutes need approval too?
That is from that meeting.
Then we had
the
two
special
meetings
meeting.
that night,
Oh,
I
my
guess.
bad.
Yeah,
No, it's my bad too. Can we back up and I'll make a motion that we also approve the Tuesday, May 10th, 2022 meeting that was held following the town board meeting.
Second.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
was that-
Yep. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. That's right, we had the double one.
Yeah, the police meeting.
Approval of the general fund vouching.
I'll make a motion to approve June's disbursements of $139,398.96.
Second motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Well, just hang it. You know, Tom, I see on here for the park survey, $6,500. Good money well spent. You know, to find out exactly to right where we're at.
That's the second payment, I think.
Was it? Also was.
It was
13,000?
Yeah, we initially approved 99,000 something, I think it was, wasn't it? Total.
That's good. So is there any permanent markers put out there, you know, a fence post or just?
Not yet, we wanna do that though.
Yeah, right.
Before the
So-
stakes fall off.
so
We have
they-
maps too.
Okay, so they don't get lost.
Yeah.
The other thing, Ron, I appreciate
Yeah.
everything he does, you know, because I know that's not a fun job and it's really tough to even get people to do those types of jobs. But I think when we do a not to exceed number, somebody, and it needs to be his office because we don't know until he sends in the invoices, but $20,379. Not that they didn't need the repairs, but it's a whole lot more than $10,000.
And it's going up, cause there's more.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I mean, well, they missed Crowville.
Crowville Road.
Yep. And what the catch-all was, is the last day, that 12,784 figure
Yeah.
came in, there was only
Yeah.
one day left, or a day and a quarter, it went a day and a quarter, or day and a half
Yeah.
after that, which that part I don't quite understand myself, but other than that, there was a lot of potholes.
And I'm not complaining.
But he was aware of the $10,000
Yeah, because he heard it in the
Yeah.
subsequent meeting,
and
yeah.
doubled the cost.
Correct, yeah, which, you know, I hate surprises, and to me, that's a surprise, and, you know, I guess he needs to be like any other contractor. Hey, I'm at $9,800. You know, you guys need to approve more, or I'm done.
He should have asked that
Some-
night, because we asked him that night.
Yeah, right, yeah,
We
but he didn't
asked
know
him.
where they're at, and so,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just, bring it to your attention.
No, I mean, it's something that we can improve on for following years, but what I don't understand is if you do this for a living, how you don't have some kind of
Yeah.
estimation,
Yeah.
that's,
Otherwise, if we're working off a highway budget, and now, if that $10,000 would have spent somewhere else,
right.
you know, who do you
Right.
take from? A highway budget is the only place we get to borrow from.
Correct,
So, but
correct.
anyway, just to bring that up.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, say nay, motion carries. Is this yours or mine? Nope, that's mine, that's yours. Okay. All right. Let's put that over there, separate that pile. Okay, reports, police report.
Okay, so on just strictly patrol hours, we had 20 hours of patrol, 2.5 hours on complaints. We had 3 complaints. They had 12 traffic stops, 5 hours of radar, 7 residence checks, or 5 residence checks, 7 park checks. On the boat itself, they had only 15.5 hours, and we're just talking about May.
Okay.
So yeah, it's none of the June hours are in there. So during just that little bit of time, some of it was just getting the boat in the water and making sure they're running. Through those hours, they also had 2 trainees that they're training, so they're not out solo. They had 1 citation that was just for navigation rules. They had warnings for registration and the PFDs. They had 3 safety inspections. With it being a slow start to the season, it's cold, the weather wasn't great. There has been a lot of hours on the boat. I'm assuming with the hot weather this week, it will go up dramatically. The two new boat officers are being trained. Talked to Sergeant Walters today. He believes that they will be on solo in the next 2 weeks.
Good.
So then we'll have 5 of them that are able to get on the boat. We're also still going to put out an ad, not in the paper, just in the law enforcement bulletin for boat officers. The reason it hasn't been put out yet is we needed to get Sergeant Walters and Sergeant Miller credentials so they can actually post in there. So that's been done. I talked to Sergeant Walters tonight. He said they haven't had any issues with the no wake zones. They have not heard any complaints on it. So there's no issues there as of yet. But again, I think it's a slow start to our season. For next month, I've asked Sergeant Walters to put together something for you guys about possibly purchasing a new boat for 2023. He's got to talk to the DNR local rep, which that's who we get our approvals from. They will give us the numbers for shares and everything like that, so we should have a good idea on what we can spend, how we can spend it, and how that looks for you guys. But I think from all the information I read from the previous is they paid 100% for the boat. I think it used to be 75, but I think it's now 100%, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But Sergeant Walters will get that. As far as the PD business, not the boat stuff, Sergeant Miller and Sharon did all of the animal licenses. Thank you very much. I know that there was a hiccup in there, and I'm glad that worked through. Sergeant Miller also updated all the PD paperwork. That's all of our paperwork that we need for the road. He's updated all of that to get in compliance with the rules and regulations, as well as making sure they're up to date with the DA's office and their paperwork process. Sergeant Miller also updated our tracks program, which is our traffic citations or any citations that come off the computer. That program needed to be updated, and that took him about 8 hours to do, so I appreciated him doing that. He's been in charge of that program, I think, from the get-go. So the policies I should hopefully have updated within the next 2 weeks. I've started those. I had to add some new stuff at the beginning, and I'm working my way through that. I submitted all the paperwork. Robin gave me all the paperwork that I needed. Thank you, Robin, to submit to the state. It's called a Safer Community Grant. We're going to get $7,000 in grant money. They have a list of things that it can be used for. I'm thinking that it's going to probably be used for a new squad computer, since the one that we have in there is about a 2013. And when Sergeant Miller updated tracks in it, they said we will not support it after September. So putting a new computer in there with a new docking station, install of the computer is probably going to be about $5,000 to $6,000. So I figured that's probably the best place to put that money. So that's where we are at.
Thank you, Alan.
Yep.
Plan Commission report.
We had 2 petitions. Harold Stilling wanted to add 0.8 acres to a existing farm consolidation that was approved 4-0. And then Richard Schwartz for extensive storage building and to exceed the height on that building in an R1 zone, and that was approved also 4-0. The other one no need to talk about. They withdrew their petition, right?
Cambridge Fire and EMS report.
Nothing to report, no meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for June 30th at 6:30 at the Oakland, Christiana Town Hall.
Excellent. Joint Rock Lake Committee report. Hi, Wendy.
We have 4 members now, 2 from the city and 2 from the township. We're still waiting for one more township to be appointed. We had a special meeting on June 2nd. I think I told you Ron when I talked before. June 2nd, where all of the members went to the Cedar Lane culvert area of the Majala Channel, because the newer members really wanted to get up to date on what the Majala Channel project was all about, the tributary part and what needs to be done on the lower part. That was Marissa Ullman showed up to give us information, and Wes Dawson came to give information from the RLIA project that's going on, so it was really informative for everybody. At our meeting, we discussed a residential recreational welcome brochure, gave a lot of input. One of Kathy Kuntz is going to take that project. She's going to draft something up, but before we do that, we have to go through all the information, make sure it's accurate, because it's a pretty old brochure. So that's being worked on. The ordinance for potential changes was on our agenda, and we had a lot of input on the ordinance for our group. And again, a lot of just basic word cleanup and date cleanup and some of the things that aren't exactly what we do anymore, to get that cleaned up. And then one of the members is then gonna draft an ordinance with all those changes, and then we'll talk about any additions or deletions from that needs to happen at our next meeting. The RLIA has asked us to give a report at all of their meetings, and it was approved that we would, if at all possible, have a member at the RLIA meeting to give a report on the Joint Rock Lake Committee. And in turn, we voted to ask them to also attend our meeting on a regular basis as they can and give us a report, because there's a lot of disconnect between what they're doing and what we're doing, and we really need to connect a little better. We had a lot of discussion on the Majala restoration project, the tributary and the channel. We divided things down into stages, and there were 4 stages that we're working on. We aren't anywhere ready to give you any recommendations yet, but we did a lot of discussing, and in general, though there hasn't been a decision, everybody agrees something needs to be done on both the upper and the lower. It's the funding that's the issue. So we're trying to look for ways to recommend funding of that project and all of the parts that need to happen in that project. I can give you a small report on a tributary project that the RLIA has been working on. They did get the 2 grants, which was enough money to hire an engineering group to give them I guess, for lack of better words, a shovel-ready plan to then give to a company to see how much it would cost to execute the plan. They awarded that to REA, who's worked with them and with, I think, Daybreak in different projects like this. They're from Middleton. They've already done a topographic survey, and so I didn't get any timeline on when all that'll be done, but they're hired and they're well on their way of getting the information they need to get that engineering plan ready and given to the RLIA. And I know one of the issues with the tributary project was all of the residents on the channel or on the tributary approving access to their land for this project. And it's my understanding that so there's no plan to give these people to say, I approve that plan. So in lack of that, they've contacted everybody, and basically, if what they were told they think is going to happen is in their plan, then they're probably all in favor of it. But there has been nothing sent out for them to sign or approve, because there's nothing to send out yet. Okay? We have changed our next month's meeting to the 13th instead of the 14th because of personal reasons on some of the members. So that will be a Wednesday instead of a Thursday. So everybody could attend on the 13th, and we'd have a couple people missing if we did the 14th. One of our kind of projects, I don't want to say short or long term, probably short term if we can do it, is to kind of go through and clean up or follow up on some of the recommendations that have kind of been out there. And in looking back on some of these things, I don't know if they were approved or not approved, and I'm looking in our minutes to say, oh yeah, we presented it, but I look in your minutes and I don't know if it ever was approved. So I want to clean up some of that and kind of get back to that. And one of the examples came from Susan Trier, where she sent out this message. I think you all should have received it, in regard to the Early Detection IAA Citizens Monitoring project. It says it was founded and recommended by the recommendation of us, of the Joint Rock Lake Committee. I can see where we recommended it. I have a copy of what we recommended. You probably do too. But I don't see anywhere where you approved it to be done. Okay, so I don't know what you want me to do about that. I have you probably have a copy, but I have a copy of what we presented. And I don't know that there is any discussion even that I can find in your minutes. I do see where we gave it to you, but that's all I can see.
I have a question. Yeah, I mean, we
we received, I think, a lot of written copies of things, but we never had like an official, somebody show up, give a report and present it.
Okay.
And one, I didn't see a plan anywhere attached with that. Obviously, anytime you go into a park or wherever, or a public place to do work, there's gotta be some semblance of a plan and some kind of way to monitor that. Obviously, because there's certain steps that, you know, we have to take to make sure, to ensure everybody's safety. So I don't know if you wanna go back and find out what the intent was. Obviously, we want volunteers. We're not trying to deter volunteers. We just wanna make sure it's done the right way and we're keeping everybody safe, or at least put them in the best situation that they can be in. And the second one, I didn't quite understand in that email was the founded part, like, because I don't think the town board approved it. And I would think they'd have to approve something that would be government-based, or at least as a volunteer group to.
Well, so what's happened so far is, since part of this recommendation had to do with having the RLIA also provide volunteers to this group, the RLIA has run with it. And that's kind of our disconnect, is we really need to be at each other's meetings so we don't have that disconnect anymore. So I think everybody wants to be on the same page, but we aren't. And I think hopefully that'll help. Because they said to me they have 7 members trained. They were trained by the Land and Water folks on the process that needs to happen. But since I think they know we didn't get really approval, that's why I think this message came through. Because they didn't want to do anything without your approval.
Which I think is great.
Yeah.
We constructed that, absolutely.
Yeah. So what you really need to follow up on this is a plan, and to get approval for the group to begin with.
And I think it can come to the Joint Rock Lake Committee and or Parks Committee, and I think the two committees could, you know, definitely work together there. But yeah, because my personal opinion, and the board would have to weigh this obviously a little bit later on as this comes to fruition, is whether the board wants to deal with this or we want to put the committees in charge of kind of that monitoring process for the groups that are coming in. I mean, my own personal opinion, I would rather see the committees do that, just because we have a lot of.
I think we have several outstanding kind of items like that where we said, do you recommend this? But we never really, like you said, I don't think ever was formally presented with a plan. So I think we need to follow up on those things, at least from the past year.
Yep. Yeah, it's always good to hear it in person, that's for sure.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Anything else?
That citizens group, they do both city and town, right? I mean, they're looking for invasive species.
Yes.
Yeah, so actually the city needs.
They would have to, city council would have to weigh on it too.
Right.
Yeah, they sent the memo to the city too, but again, I can't find anything where they made any approvals of it either.
They probably got the same written thing we did. And
Yep, yes, they did.
it becomes a far less, you know, item when there's a lot of heavy items to deal with. It's you know, when you're not showing up in person to kind of secondarily put some backing behind it,
Right,
for sure.
right. Okay, so we'll hopefully correct that this year, and in the future you'll hear the whole story. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Town chairman report, city, county, state communications. The only thing is I think we have the upcoming meeting at the city for the EMS work session. I think that's Thursday. Other than that, it's been fairly quiet. I did draft an email to the county, to Ben again, kind of to reiterate everybody sitting down at the table for the EMS topic. I haven't heard anything back on that yet. And that is primarily it for that. Oh, road report. Sorry, I got road report on there too.
Hang on just a second, Tom. When, on the city council meeting, when Steve Wilkie mentioned about the county could tax levy, do you know any more particulars of why they can do a tax levy and why can't the town do a tax levy? And we get a special assessment from the town of Ashland and all on the properties we have in Ashland, and they're small, you know.
There was a stipulation in there. I don't remember exactly what he said, and I think we can ask that question again, obviously.
Yeah, because, you know, if he's counting on that money, you know, it's like, it'd be nice to know when how they do that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of cart in front of the horse there. I
Yeah,
mean, because
yeah.
it's gonna take some time, I think, to obtain that or organize that, so
Right.
because they have to work with all the I mean, the way for that to work is to work with all the municipalities and that everyone's kind of working together in some semblance of consistency. So I don't know,
You said the county said they could do that? Or the city?
the county.
County.
Okay,
Yep.
just wanna make sure I have that right.
Yeah, cause he said our portion was what, roughly $100,000, or it might be $100,000 projected.
And again, you can't count on that, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's what his statement was.
Yep, yep,
Thanks, sorry.
yep. Sorry, I can't specifically answer.
I just thought maybe that you might have.
I heard it, but there's a lot of micro details there.
Yeah, I
Try to keep track of.
Yeah.
Road report, been doing a lot of driving around, especially both of us picking up branches and doing some things, but obviously, yeah, Krogville Road, they missed that. I think there was a little bit of disconnect when that kid got injured, because he was the lead guy on that whole
Right,
project.
yeah.
And Bob, he didn't know the town very well. So even though they had the checklist, I think, I think they were so far behind and everyone was begging them to get to their municipality that got missed. Obviously, there's some that have surfaced since then, again.
Talk about potholes? here?
Potholes.
Yeah, potholes.
Yeah. So I actually rode around with Bob this afternoon and we kind of looked at some more things, Lake Lane, Park Lane, where there was some of that elm tree damage from last year, which they're kind of using the pothole process for all that anyway. They will keep the bills for those two areas separate,
I
obviously.
think we need to check the budget first before we say we can or can't do any of that.
The potholes? Yeah, well, we might have to
Put a
have
budget
a
together
meeting
so we
to-
know where we're at.
Are they gonna cut that end of that culvert off on Mickle Lane?
Which one?
In Mickle Lane? You said you had them up on Mickle Lane?
I did not get up to Middle.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, I thought you
No,
said you had.
no. But we can get, I'll have to get them to get an estimate out of that,
Yeah.
to get that cut. The Park Lane, the two procedures on Park Lane and Upper Short Hills, we already approved.
Right.
That was a separate amount.
Right.
I don't remember it off the top
It
of
was
my head.
last month.
Yeah. For raising those. But obviously, yeah, we're gonna hear complaints about these potholes sooner than later now.
Well, we gotta check the budget because they went over by double. I mean, if we keep just doing work willy-nilly with them exceeding, who knows, whatever they do this time could be double again.
Well, then we're gonna have to have a special meeting to get them going. Because once they stop doing that, they're gonna be done for most of the year.
Do you have an
Till
idea how
fall.
much it might, well, it's not on the agenda tonight to,
No,
just a shouldering this.
yeah, just shouldering is. No, and again, I mean, that's 6 here, 10 there. It's hard to speculate. I don't think it's gonna take them very long to do it, but it's probably gonna take a ton or two, I guess, of
Yeah, because
material.
there's 3 that people keep complaining about in Crowville Road.
Well, yeah, there's at least 6 on Crowville that I counted. Well, so there's some new ones too.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, we gotta fix this stuff. I mean,
Yeah, right, yeah. You can't look
It's
at it
either
like-
that or hire someone to throw a cold patch in it.
Yeah, we know how that works.
It won't work. So. But anyways, that's kind of that. They were going to get here to do the road race stuff, so, projectively in the next, probably tomorrow, to get that part of it done. So, I mean, I can tell them to hold off on everything, because it doesn't really make them sense to run around and,
I think we have to finish the potholes. They can't go another year.
well, yeah, I mean, they're sitting full of water right now. Most of them. But otherwise, yeah, we'll have to get reapproval for that, but we're not gonna get much of an estimate out of them. It's gonna be
Time and material.
time and material. So that's kind of where that's at.
Well, Tom, you can do up to $5,000.
as your decision, as highway commissioner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna exceed that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
What we're talking about right now. It's onesies, twosies. So, anyways, that's kind of the road report. There's some brushing. I mean, stuff's really starting to grow now. There's a couple of corners, but there's also, obviously, there's a couple dead trees I've counted, at least up in our neighborhood. I got to measure them to see they're kind of borderline, whether whose is whose. But yeah, we got another pending storm, and I don't know what kind of storm damage, and we lucked out on this last one, but I don't know what kind of expenses, you know, we got to have some expenses built in for that too. For getting rid of that stuff. That is the road report. ETZ,
Nothing.
nothing. Parks Committee reports. Jason sent an email in.
Yeah, I didn't print a copy yet because I've been.
Basically, yeah, I can remember the first thing, but the one thing was a quote for redoing the edging at Phillips Park, and it came out to around $6,800, I think it was, to do it in composite.
See, I don't understand his estimate. There was a $3,400 for the composite, $3,200 if we went with treated. That's the way I.
Oh, it's a separation, so it's one or the other.
Yeah, and then the total was 7,000, which didn't. That's wrong.
I wonder if he messed
That's
up and
wrong.
didn't put labor in there,
Oh.
because labor's usually half
Well,
of what the materials
Right,
are.
yeah.
Parks Board
It was-
approval of the motion to put together signage for trail.
It was on the attachment.
Okay, hold on. It's gonna take a minute to pull it up.
Because there was something else.
Anyway, it's not. It's if they want to get these things approved, we can't approve this
No.
tonight.
No, we can't. This
So
is
it's-
just correspondence.
Okay, so it'll have to be on next
Yeah.
meeting's agenda,
Yeah.
and
It was a report, they're looking into a dog station for Ferry Park. And the other thing that was on there was they did make a recommendation, or approved to make a recommendation to put the trailer parking only sign up for 4 stalls, and then a no, I think it was a no trailer parking on the hill.
Right.
But he's getting some estimates on putting a couple of bumpers in that correlate to the sign for trailer parking only, because it's for 4 spots. So that's what they
Okay,
talked
so
about.
for replacing the border on the playground with composite border, the total is $3,451.55, or replacing border around playground with treated lumber, it is $3,250.
right, then the total.
Yeah, the total part, he didn't do an estimate very clearly. That shouldn't have totaled
Yeah, I
like
wondered
that.
because usually he puts labor on these.
There was nothing listed as
Yeah.
labor. That was just the total of those two
Right.
plus tax.
Yeah,
So it didn't make
Well, we
sense.
can ask him at the Parks Committee meeting.
Yeah,
as well.
and I would want to have a cut sheet on that composite. I don't know what, he has no description of what that is.
no.
6x6 or,
Yeah, okay.
so need a little more
Yep,
information
okay.
for next meeting.
Town Hall Facilities Committee meeting.
I suppose that'd be me.
Yeah.
All right, so we are looking to get approval from the town board tonight for the evaluation of the current town hall. So we have an idea of how much it's valued at, so we know what we're comparing other properties to. We're seeking alternative sites, just to make sure we've covered all our bases. We're looking for a site that's between 2.5 acres up to 5 acres. I believe it's that range, kind of in that Highway S corridor, because that's centrally located in the town. We're also investigating different temporary locations for our meetings, storage, police office. So if we are able to create a new town hall, we'd have if we needed temporary space, we have a plan. We're working on developing a plan for that.
Yeah, and we want meeting June 30th.
June 30th.
We're gonna interview users, so that's police department and town board.
Right. And I think that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't gonna do building inspector.
June 30th?
June 30th.
Yeah. You around?
What time at?
6?
6.
Cause, yeah, I can, cause the
Okay.
fire, or Cambridge
Oh,
EMS
that's the
is-
same night?
that's at- Yeah, at 6:30.
Okay.
Well,
I'm gonna have to check my calendar,
I don't know about police department, I mentioned it.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'll have somebody here no matter what.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll we'll go over with whoever we got.
Yeah.
If you guys can't make it, we'll do it another night. Town board.
6:30, right?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
You said 6:30.
With my meeting at 6:30, yeah, I know, yeah, we're talking about a lot of things, right? Yeah.
HSR, or do you want me to do that?
No, not yet.
Actually, it's
You wanna do it, or-
1830
I can.
hours.
He always does in military time, so you gotta stop and think, it's like, oh, okay.
You have to see if we need Zoom.
Right.
To do it Zoom.
Jim, do you have a location here?
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okey-doke. Period of public comment. This is your time for the general public. If you want to make comment to the Town of Mills Board, you're more than welcome to. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Anyone for public comment tonight? Nope. Going once, going twice. Application, discussion or decision of request by Harold Stilling to rezone .80 acres from A1 to A3.
Surprised he's not here.
Yeah, I'm really
Encompassing a
surprised.
shed and fenced area to add it to an existing A3 farm consolidation lot of Oak Lake Road.
He knew he had to come here tonight, he was told, and he said that he wanted to have it to the county by June 10th, and I told him, you can't, it's not possible, so I'm really surprised he's not here.
He just forgot.
He's probably at his grandson's baseball game, where I should be.
This was passed at the plan commission, right?
Yeah, there was no questions, no issues. What he wanted to do was, you can see on his plan, just, there's a shed, not an old shed, there's a shed in the back there that's a really nice steel structure with concrete walls. They were gonna use it for breeding bulls, when they purchased the property and split off the buildings to it and sold them off. But then they never did use it for breeding bulls, and then they used it for hay storage or something, and now the owner of the farm buildings would like to purchase it from them, so add that .8 acres on. So they would have a total of 3.8 acres, and the county does allow up to 5 now, and the town goes along with the county. So we didn't see any issues, but it's up to you guys.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing, Jim, you know, it's under the 5 acres. I guess the only question that I would have is this still being considered a part of the accessory land division, or,
Yes, it would be.
so it would not be a split, because I don't think there's any
No.
splits left there, so it's
No.
just an addition to the
Correct. Instead of 3 acres, it'll be now 3.8.
3.8, which is
parcel.
under the 5, yeah. I'll make a motion to approve.
That's the second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve request by Harold Stilling.
I think Bud needs to know also that we wouldn't have to do that, because he's not present, even though there's really not any questions.
Discussion or decision of request by Richard and Christine Schwarzy to allow an extensive on-site storage structure.
And he's here tonight.
Other than the plans I have in front of you, or that you have received, I guess I don't have a whole lot else to add to it. Personal storage structure, R1 land, it's pretty well set off the road. Plans are fully detailed there with what the exterior elevations would look like, which would mimic the exterior of the house that will be proposed. High quality building materials will aesthetically look nice on the land, as well as fit nicely with the house that's to be built. So simply filing for conditional use permit, since it is outside the border of the normal standard.
The allowed height is 18 feet, so it needs to
Exceeding that.
be requesting to exceed that plus the square footage is larger. So those 2 things. I'd make a motion to approve the extensive on-site storage structure at 2,535 square feet and a height of 20 foot 4 inches.
Second.
Any other discussion?
The only, and I did read in here that this is strictly for personal storage, right? There's not gonna be any living space above the ceiling or whatever, so.
You know, renting out space or anything for storage.
Personal storage.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to approve request by Richard to increase the height and size of the storage structure. Discussion or C is scratched because they retracted.
Yep, they withdrew their application.
All right, and discussion or decision of annual alcohol, tobacco, non-intoxicating operator licenses. Whole list.
So I would recommend approving by the categories that are on the list. Keep it
First
somewhat-
off, have,
Yeah,
you guys,
I know he wants to leave anyway, so.
Yeah, he's checking.
you've checked them all out?
Yeah, these I looked through, are you talking about these?
All the
Yes,
background checks?
Yeah, the alcohol, tobacco licenses.
Yeah, be other operators and managers.
So I did all of these myself, so I put any notes in the bottom of them, if there's any convictions or,
It's not gonna be on their copies, because you did it when they received theirs.
oh, okay.
So if there's any in particular you want them to look at, pass them down so they can take a peek.
So this one, so what I did is if there's any violations on there, I have the violations on the bottom and I put what years they are. So I don't know, I can pass,
So then was this a felony?
nope.
No, it's not a felony, okay. So then he's still okay.
And
The
that,
only ones
That was
we have to
Nathan
be-
Johnson he's talking
The only
about.
ones we have to concern ourselves with when it comes to the licensing are ones that would directly affect them in their capacity to serve people.
Right.
So
Something
if it's a
related
traffic
to.
violation or something that's not
Right,
related.
Right.
Lying on the application or a felony is the two big ones.
Mhm.
So if they mark it and had an explanation.
so. I know that you guys had one of them that you guys had some questions about, that's
She
your last.
withdrew.
She withdrew.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
withdrew
she
because
withdrew.
she no longer works there.
Okay.
And she's not even on this list this time.
The only other one then I guess would be this one. The application isn't filled out all the way, and I guess that would be for you guys. So he's missing a signature here, and then I think he didn't put.
Parveen Singh.
Harvey Singh, well, that's,
Yeah, that's with the truck stop.
Harvey Singh, is that what you said?
Yeah. I love the chop up name, so.
Yeah, he didn't put what the application was for.
Oh, yeah, he didn't sign it.
Signature of application.
Yeah, I had to verify that with the owner, and he is applying for the manager's. The only third thing that, this isn't related to the operators, but is related to the travel plaza, is they provided a map for us of their facility, which includes the restaurant area. I think we need to keep note of
So this
the
is
fact that they
managed
can't use the restaurant area for the type of license they're applying for. So we want to make sure that we state that the restaurant is not included in this application.
Right.
Is it on here? Did he apply for the restaurant?
It's on the map,
Oh,
so as the,
is that Parveen Street?
Yeah. So, right here,
And that's for the travel plaza,
this here,
correct?
and the actual licensing
Yeah,
information.
because
He
that's
put the restaurant here,
non-serving.
and that's all he
cash and
provided for
carry.
a description, was see the map.
Right, and that's the Combo Class A liquor and malt.
So
renewal.
that's,
where that falls.
we just gotta make sure
Yeah,
we
because we
define
have the
what
liquor
your
behind
areas
the
is.
counter that's supposed to be gated,
Cross them out.
Yeah.
so they can't, doesn't
Yeah,
have
they
public
can't,
access.
they can't go into the restaurant.
Yeah, it'd be better if it's part of the motion.
Okay.
So this was a manager, he didn't sign that, so he's the Harvey one, that's under the manager section.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And the other one was okay then?
Yeah, it was, because it was a
And
OWI
that was
second.
that was operator.
Yeah, that's an operator, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he didn't sign.
That was Nathan Johnson that
But he's been
Al
approved
was
in the
talking
past.
about.
Right, he did sign below. It's an unusual spot to have a signature up there, you probably missed it.
Hmm.
Okay. But he did,
He signed it at the
he
bottom,
signed
but,
it below.
yeah.
His signature, that comes down here,
Yeah,
notarized. So,
yes, all right. All right, first things first.
okay, I'll make a motion to approve the combo Class A liquor and malt renewal for A&S Stores LLC, Hall Shop.
Shaw, yep.
For Lake Mills Travel Plaza.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Robin, this is one where you wanted to have the stipulation that does not include the restaurant, correct?
Correct, because it's a Class A license, they cannot drink in UV.
Yeah, we cannot serve or
Right.
consume,
Correct.
so it does not include the restaurant.
Okay.
Is that a amendment to the motion?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll make an amendment not to include, or to not include the restaurant in the Class A liquor and malt renewal.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Now you gotta go back and approve the motion.
Yeah,
You approved the amendment, now
you
you gotta
approve the amendment,
motion.
now I gotta approve the,
All in favor, because we already seconded the other.
Yep.
one.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye to approve the original motion.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Make a motion to approve combo Class B liquor and malt renewal for Rutabaga Farms, Crowville Oasis, TD Ready Inc., London Depot.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Make a motion to approve cigarette and tobacco products over the counter for A&S Stores LLC, Lake Mills Travel Plaza, Rutabaga Farm Inc., Crowville Oasis, TD Ready Incorporated, London Depot.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Make a motion to approve non-intoxicating beverage for A&S Stores LLC, Lake Mills Travel Plaza, Rutabaga Farm Inc., Crowville Oasis, T&D Ready Incorporated, London Depot.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay.
And make a
Carries.
motion to approve managers for Jeffrey M. Baumgartner, Crowville Oasis, and Parveen Singh, Lake Mills Travel Plaza.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Make a motion to approve operators Kaylee Porter, London Depot, Andrea L. Rain, London Depot, Michelle M. Morgan, London Depot, Becky A. Reddy, London Depot, Nathan V. Johnson, London Depot, Jennifer L. Lombardo, London Depot, Alexis E. Bassett, London Depot.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Also, operators Bobby Joyce Hockett, Crowville Oasis, Samantha J. Garcia, Crowville Oasis, Heather M. Humschild, Crowville Oasis, Danielle E. Wilkin, Crowville Oasis, and Daryl J.
Krejci.
Krejci, Crowville Oasis.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay.
The only thing I'd like to point out is the only operator or manager's license we have for the travel plaza is for Parveen. And they're open a lot of hours, so that means somebody on site needs to be there with a license, or the owner has to be there, so that's gonna have to be monitored. I've asked them if they have more operators, and they said no.
And their hours to sell is midnight.
Also, under this, I'd make a motion that we the town sends a letter to the Humchild, right? Owner of Moe's?
Yep,
What's his first name?
Larry.
Larry Humchild, asking him if he's going to relinquish the Class B liquor license to the town of Lake Mills. Or if he's not, he's gonna have to pay for it every year and keep it up to date. I believe that's what the law is.
Right. You made a motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Robin, who do you have for the licenses up there?
Or what, Sean? Travel Plaza?
Yeah, Travel Plaza.
The only one we have is Parveen for manager. There's no other operator licenses out there.
Yeah, you have the sheet, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, so
It's
yeah.
just the one.
Yeah, but like, and then.
I mean, the owner can be there.
Operators.
So the owner can be there and supervise, but, or it's gotta be the manager, that's it.
Yeah, because they have no operators.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Old business, discussion or decision of status of Lake Mills EMS services table. Need to untable.
Make a motion to bring it off the table.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to untable.
Is there an option to set up a meeting with the Cambridge EMS director, just to kick some ideas around over there?
Yeah, they would definitely entertain that. They've been kind of waiting. I've been kind of holding off just as suggestions, but yeah, they are more than willing.
Then we can sit down, take a compass, plunk it on Lake Mills and draw a circle, and plunk it on Cambridge and draw a circle, same size circle, and see where territories
Maps.
we
Makes
could
sense.
possibly.
Sure. Do you, well.
And then we can get pricing information
Because
too.
Waterloo's gonna be the other one. I think we're gonna.
Yep,
hit
yeah,
the
do that
EVs.
one too. Yep.
Because right now Cambridge's offer is that they would not take any per capita costs or any budget expense to the town of Lake Mills. They would run until December 31st for anything south of I-94 for run call money only. Anything after that, then it would become a budget item. So that would be their offer right now, but we need to do that. And I can have it added to the agenda on the 30th, but you know, if you already have another meeting set, I can call Paul and see what else. And I don't know, would you want the chair of the commission there also, or just, because really I guess it comes down to, you know, the director and our medical supervisor, but it doesn't involve the rest of the commission too.
Right. Yeah. I think it's just, my idea would be just to get an idea of territory that could possibly go to different department, and then costs, what projected costs.
Yep. I'll give Paul a call.
Not this year, for
You're
2023.
right, yeah. I'll give Paul a call and have him start working on it, and then I'll leave it open for him to, when he's ready to have a meeting, discuss it.
Yeah, you can put it on your agenda and talk about it, and then set up a meeting. I mean,
Sure.
or a time, offer us some time, so.
Maybe we can meet over there, but their air conditioning works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be more ideal. I agree.
Otherwise, I guess the only other thing is the meeting which is Thursday night. I won't be there because I can't make that one, but that's okay.
No, we just need it.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna be there, so, and I read 20-page, 27.
Yeah,
That's the short version.
Do you have any particular advice, Jim? Because I kind of briefly looked at it, and you can get lost pretty quick.
Well, my feeling has always been that any way we can keep the present EMS
Yes.
viable
I agree.
is the route to go. I would not enjoy going to the city of Lake Mills and having them run everything again like the fire department.
Yes.
It's just budgets, you can have no control over budgets,
Correct.
no say in anything, so.
Yep, I agree.
So I
And-
think
and-
that was his option number one, I think was, I can't remember, he had 4 or 5 options, but,
Yeah, 6 actually. I
6?
think. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, $39 to $55. I think it's per capita gets,
Well,
I don't
you-
see there's any savings.
At $15, you're paying $29,000, Town of Lake Mills. At 40,000, you're 3 times that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But that 15 is going up. Those guys
Yeah, I
are
know,
out
it's
they're out
going
of business.
I know it's going up. It would go
I
up
mean,
even,
to keep them viable, they would have to basically
well, even if they were
recharge the
the,
ship with new leadership.
right. But then you could keep the same.
That's business savvy because.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You would
I
keep,
agree.
you would keep the same building, they could keep the same building.
Keep the same equipment.
Same equipment, just different management, and if it goes up to $40, it's $40 versus 40 for the city, I'd still pick this one.
Yep.
Well, I think
EMS.
we need to get a price out of, I think it's smart to go to Cambridge and get
Would it-
costs from them as well, because what I think is the unknown in this whole thing is really what these costs are going to be, because they are going to be, probably, my speculation would be in that $30 range going forward. I don't think we're gonna get away from that.
And I think it's gonna be more than that, Tom, because
Yeah.
a lot of the things that Steve talked about,
That's the trouble.
you cannot
There's
factor that
unknowns.
into a budget offset because none of those dollars are guaranteed. You can't guarantee run call, and your run call money should not come back into your budget. That should be earmarked for drugs, equipment replacement, ambulance replacement, and budget shortfalls. So you should not count on that money. And is there gonna be 200 calls? Is there gonna be 700 calls? You can't, there's just no way. Is the county gonna give you 100,000, 120,000? Can't count on it.
Should we be talking to Waterloo the same as Cambridge at the same time to kind of use the time efficiently? Because 2023 is going to sneak up on us real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could. The other option, I guess, we have, and whether that'll be an option to us or not, is when we get an idea of what's out of Cambridge. I mean, Cambridge propensely would handle a huge chunk. I mean, if you draw that
Correct.
circle, it's gonna be a massive chunk
Yeah.
of our residents.
Mhm.
So do we just go that percentage with them, and then whatever percentage is left with the city or Waterloo or whoever, and whether that'll be, an option or not?
Which is really, in a way, is kind of a tough thing. And Jim, you know this when we switched, if you remember, when we
Yeah, oh,
switched
yeah.
from, the dispatchers like to
Yep.
have the EMS follow the fire, because then it's easier for them. So, and I mean, that happens all over where it does not follow, but that's just, one.
So the fire would follow the EMS lines? again?
Districts, yes. I mean, that's what they like.
They don't now,
They,
they don't now.
I don't know,
dude.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they don't, yeah, because
No, you got-
Cambridge only comes to London Lodge.
That's correct.
Because you're
Yeah, they don't, yeah.
Because London
It's only
Lodge
like
wanted to
3%
stay
of
with
it.
Lake
Yeah.
Mills at that
Right,
time.
yep,
Yep.
So they aren't the same, there's a little bit of difference.
yeah.
But the issue, like Dave said, is that's Dane County Dispatch, Cambridge, and the rest is Jefferson. All of Lake Mills is in Jefferson.
Right.
So the dispatch goes from there to Dane County.
Right, yeah, which
They can do, I mean, they're doing it
yeah,
now, so.
and the commission has invested over $70,000 in the conversion of the radios so that they have better communication.
Yeah, and there's mutual aid, so there's not,
Yes, correct.
on fire, there's not a major
Right.
issue. But,
Yeah, I don't, I mean,
Yeah.
projectively, I mean, you can read any of those proposals or options and you don't know where any of it's gonna fall because it's all speculatory at this
Right.
point. Other than we know, even with the current EMS service, their viability in trying to find recruits is gonna be no different than any other entity. These other entities that are paying
Yes.
are gonna find them a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah.
And that
Yep.
can pay more
Yep.
than them, and I don't think they're ever gonna cut it. In fact, their price would probably go higher than the city to try to retain those
Yep,
employees.
yep, and that's very true because Cambridge has that issue, and generally your paramedics and a lot of your advanced, they work for more than one service. So, and you lose your really good people, the management people, they're going to Sun Prairie because their base pay is $62,000. McFarland and Deer Grove, they're all $58,000 to $74,000. So, if you're going to get into the surface or this service, you're not going to wait around in the shallow end of the pool.
Right.
You're jumping into the deep end with 7 people. It takes 7 people to make this thing work, full-time people.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. And that's why I think weighing a couple of costs is gonna be crucial, because I know Cambridge has paramedics too. And
Right.
that hasn't been heavily discussed
Yes, correct.
in the options.
I was wondering if you could see the.
And the thing of it is Cambridge is, every one of the full-time staff are paramedics. They do have some part-time and also paid on call that are advanced EMTs. A couple of them are going to paramedic school. So generally you always have 2 paramedics on there, and I'm not 100% in favor of that. I think if you have 1 there with an advanced, that's enough.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are dual trained. They carry turnout gear on the ambulances so they can join the fire service and also the ambulance. But so yeah, to retain your people. I mean, if you can't, you got to do it with facilities, equipment, and money.
Yeah.
Is what keeps them.
And I mean, run call time is gonna be obviously a substantial variable, but I mean, that's stuff they can go through all with us, you know what I mean? So you can
Yeah.
do some comparisons,
Right.
and get some of that, cause I'm a little bit lost on I know you have to staff, but as far as the breakdown, as far as the equipment is concerned, they bought the 1 ambulance, they're talking about 2 ambulances, but the local, if they're blending this thing in, they have 3 ambulances, so those have already been paid for essentially by all the people that have been spending money on them over the years.
The past
And so
payers.
that ownership should be retained.
It
So
should be
shouldn't
absorbed.
have- we shouldn't have equipment major
agree.
equipment costs.
I agree.
Other than training and setup and some things like that, and what does that break down, and what does that look like? Because that's another spot, I think, and we have to question, definitely have to question in the work session.
So are we gonna talk to Waterloo to have them put something together as well? Because we have to know what our plan is come budget time in October.
Yes.
Okay.
By October. I think we meet with Cambridge for see what that, and then what shakes out of there, and then we can go to Waterloo after that. We
Okay.
still have 4 months.
Okay.
I mean, but it should be this month, Cambridge, next month, Waterloo.
Okay. So I know we'll go
The other
fast.
thing is with its city taking it, they have to have housing.
Oh, right, yes.
So I don't know if this fire station was, I mean, it was built to have some sleeping rooms, but I
Yeah,
don't know if
there's-
they've ever
I think
been.
there's 4 in there.
There
I
are?
believe.
There
Yeah.
are, okay.
Which, in my opinion, it's just like what the Cambridge Fire, proposed station is. You're looking at, being able to double those up So
Yeah.
if you ever went to, full-time fire people, and I don't know if Lake Mills is that way, but they should be able to turn 4 into 8, just by double tacking.
Sure, sure. So we probably need a motion to talk to Cambridge or?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we contact Cambridge Fire Department EMS service to set up a meeting to discuss territory and costs.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
I'll make the call, Tom, and let you know.
Awesome, thanks, Dave. All right.
Just one other thing, even if the city would take it over and house it in the fire station, there's no reason that the bookkeeping and everything couldn't be done separately, not by the city, by an accounting firm, and just a separate books.
Not a bad idea.
Because
That's a good thing.
anything left in that fire department budget at the end of the year goes right into the city's general fund.
Yep.
You never get a credit the next
Nope.
year. And Steve Wilkie always says, well, if there's a credit one year, and then there's an overage next year, do you want to be charged that? I think we should have an accounting of that,
Yeah.
rather than saying,
Yeah.
it's always a wash.
Yep, I agree.
That would be my only comment for Thursday's meeting.
Okay. Discussion or decision adoption to amend town ordinance 6-1 traffic code.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision of cleaning services for town halls table.
Yeah, leave the table.
Leave the table, all right.
Didn't get anybody up.
Discussion or decision of non-payment by the Jefferson County Drainage Board for reimbursements of work done under the Britsky Bridge. This is what I'm gonna say. There's three I see this in three options, because I saw Lee's email. Option is to have retained Lee to do it, to hopefully finish it up, which hasn't happened forever. It's cost us a lot of money. And then he's gonna retire and walk away. That's gonna happen. That's option one. Option two is we hire Lee, but we also pick one of the alternate lawyers recommended by Eric that specialize in things like this. Because my guess is this is never gonna end. They're gonna come back with something else, and we're probably gonna need somebody for that anyway. And the third option would be just to go with the new person that specializes in this type of law.
I think, Tom, I like option 2 just because it Lee is at the ground level and can maybe, escalate it along a little bit. And then if you get somebody with that expertise in that area, they'll have the teeth. And they don't have to start all over and reinvent the wheel.
Well, Lee would have to relinquish his file to the new attorney anyways. We could direct him to do that, and maybe we just pay him for the time that he reviews that with a new attorney, rather than having him hired on as part of the whole thing, because then you're doubling up on attorneys that may be
and that would be
involved.
fun.
I can see what's gonna happen here. I mean, you're right, Tom. It's gonna go on forever, because they refuse to pay us now, which they're in contempt of court. They should have paid us the $7,200 or whatever it is.
They're gonna give
Wrote a check, and that should still be what they have to do.
Yes.
The assessment part, which they think should be
Separate.
totally separate, because that
Yes.
can become another whole court issue,
Yes.
fighting
A
that.
separate issue.
I
Yeah.
agree. I
So,
agree.
yeah, we need some different attorneys.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would agree with either option 2 or 3, because option 1 is not, we have to have somebody else.
So Dave's 2 is have Lee bring a new attorney up to
Up to
speed,
speed.
and then have him go with it, or
No, 2 is, that would be 3.
3?
Okay, then
2 is to retain Lee for getting the payment or going after him for because he's been keeping track of it, and then retaining or getting making a recommendation on a new attorney, because these guys are gonna try to start assessing and doing stuff after they have to pay the bill.
Right.
One thing to keep in mind, the new attorney is gonna review the case file from
Correct,
beginning
anyway.
to end anyway,
Yes.
so they're gonna know where they're at in the process
Yep.
and what
Yeah.
the non-payment is about. If they have questions for Lee, then it's a little different. We should probably make sure we approve that Lee can talk with them for a per hour rate.
Right. What I'm fearful of is they're not scared of Lee at all. They haven't been the whole time, and he doesn't specialize in this.
Take care, be safe.
So Dave, you want option three?
Yeah, 3, yeah.
Lee to work with the new attorney to bring him up to speed, and then the new attorney takes it.
Take over, yep.
That would be my,
Did you select which attorney possibly to go with?
I looked at all 3 of them.
Okay.
I would think it was the first one and the last one had a lot more environmental stuff and that type of stuff that I think fit that equation a lot better. The other one had some zoning and some other stuff, maybe a little lighter background in that.
we're gonna need the one that has background in the assessment.
Trying to think of the names off the top of my head again.
Sorry.
We don't believe that.
That Paul Kent, I think, here it is right here.
Paul Kent is the third one.
That's the one I thought looked the best. And then Buck Sweeney was probably my second pick. That's based on him, not without talking to him, but, and Don Mum had kind of it was a good, they're all qualified. There's no question about it. But that was my rank anyway. And we don't have to,
This was the list what you're looking for.
I think we could rank them tonight, because if one can't do it, we have to go to the second one. You know what I mean?
Lee's email, I didn't print that off. But
No.
he wanted to be paid, right? $900 and some dollars?
Yeah.
Lee? Okay.
Yeah, that's for him keeping track of all this in the meantime, if I understood that correctly, which
Yeah.
he said he was done with it, so I'm not sure why he continued to. I mean, I get it, I mean, obviously he wants to see it through, but he said he was not gonna charge anymore for it either.
I just have trouble with not putting closure to things, and this thing just keeps.
Dragon.
Okay, so do you want to make a motion for your attorney? Yeah.
Can we get a motion to approve Paul Kent?
I'll make a motion that we have Lee Deverton work with Paul Kent, new attorney, to bring him up to speed, and then Paul Kent would take this court case on.
And take on a copy of the file.
Yeah, and along with Lee's files.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Do we want to then go to choice number 2 if Paul has a full calendar, or?
Yes.
So then your thought was you want to go with Buck Sweeney?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll make a motion to have Buck Sweeney be the second attorney that we approach if Paul Kent's docket is full.
Second.
All right, we'll approve the first one first.
You gotta call the
we gotta vote
question.
on the first.
You gotta call the question on the first one.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Now the second one.
You got a motion
Second
and
motion.
seconded.
Seconded motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay. Discussion or decision of payment for services to Lake Mills EMS. So we saw it came back.
Based on what I read in municipal law says, you basically have a contract.
Right, but our existing contract ended in May.
Yeah, but they sent us May of this year.
May 1st is the way I interpreted it.
Okay.
Or when it killed. And then we need an amended contract going forward, meaning that $15 rate wouldn't have started until after the May date. That's the way I'm interpreting it. Because our contract never ended at the fiscal year. It always ended,
June,
it ended
or
in
end of May.
end of May.
Yeah.
So, in one, the trouble I have is, it states in the contract that this has to be mutually agreed upon. Well, there was nothing mutually agreed upon.
Right.
They didn't make the October 1st date. Because we never, the only thing we received by our budget meeting, which was later than that, was the hearsay.
Well, they sent a letter.
I don't think it was
Oh,
before
I don't
October
see
1st
what
though,
date that is.
from what I remember.
We had it during budget, didn't we, Robin? Of what their estimated cost
Right
was?
here.
The
September
estimated cost, but
15th.
we
Oh, that's
never
2021. Never mind.
approved the actual
Yes, I
amount
did.
because you guys
Okay.
were grumbling
That was
about the
2021.
monthly increase.
Mm.
Yeah, that was,
Because I don't
that
think
was the
we,
right one.
Yeah,
September 15th, 2021.
If that's what you guys had for the budget, yes.
So they did, and by budgeting it, you accepted this.
well, we budgeted it, we didn't accept it.
Well, I know, but by contract, they have to submit by October 1st, which they did. And if you don't write a
A
letter.
mutually agreed upon contract, and that was a letter just given to us with the rate. And that's not even a contract, that's a letter.
Well, that's all they ever had sent.
No, I know, that's not the right way to do things, though. That's the trouble I have with it. They did a lot of things that weren't kosher. And it wasn't even $15 at the time, they crossed it out then later on and said wanted 20. I don't know if you all remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they sell it back for 15.
And that was late in the game because they had already talked to the city a month or so prior than that. And we didn't receive any letter until weeks after that. I mean, that's my thought process, and then, yeah, and then amend the contract to the 15th for the remainder of the year. I think that's what's fair to our town residents, but that's my personal opinion.
Okay, so you want the attorney to write this letter amendment? Or-
I would suggest that, yeah.
Okay.
And if he comes back and says something different, which I don't,
Okay, we'll have our, make a motion to have our town attorney write an amendment to the contract with the Lake Mills EMS for the remainder from, was it May or June?
The 1st of June.
From 1st of June through the end of the year, December
31st.
31st, for the $15 per capita cost.
Second.
any other discussion?
You got all the information in that motion that you need
Yep.
for that particular item?
For that,
Now,
there's gonna be another motion.
did we want to go month by month, or are you just for the whole 6 months?
They're gonna stay in business till,
To the end of
they've
the year.
guaranteed us till the end of the
Right,
year,
yeah,
so I'd go
yeah.
to the end of the year.
Yeah.
I would.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
So then as far as the
Current invoice.
current invoice, you wanna only pay $7 of that.
That was the deal.
All right, I make a motion that we pay for the current invoice. I don't know what that number is.
I think I
You got it?
So it's 1,938 capita times $7, so it's 13,566 divided by the 12 months, so it's 1,130 per month. First 5 months, total would be 5,652.
It's 6 now.
6 months.
6 now.
Oh,
We
6
made it
months.
June 1st, so.
So 1,130 times 6, so 6,780.
Make a motion to pay $6,780.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Let's try to see, oh, that's the DOT thing. I buried that already.
Lost my agenda.
information.
Is that what you're looking for?
No, I was looking for my EMS thing.
Oh.
So it says right here. It says if there's no agreement for the subsidy, then the contract will terminate 120 days of the next calendar year. This would have been on May 1st, 2022.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure our motion was correct there.
So you okay with that? From June 1st to, or you needed May 1st?
Because January, February, March, April, May is 5 months.
Oh, 5, then you have to,
Oh.
we have to go back and amend,
Yeah.
Okay, so
change the
let's
motion to June 1st.
Resend the first motion.
Yeah, we can rescind the first motion. So can we get a motion to rescind the $7, or that was
Both motions, we're gonna rescind.
$7 per capita
For 6 months.
I'll
for
make
6
that motion.
months.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries to rescind. And if we get a motion to rescind the per capita
I'll make a motion
amended
to
contract.
Hold on.
rescind the $6,780 for the contract.
Second.
Because you have to rescind this because then we have
Yep,
to.
we have to redo that one.
Can't talk over each other, so I can't keep up.
So,
All in favor,
Okay.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries
So-
to rescind.
So I'll make a motion to have our town's attorney amend the contract with Lake Mills EMS from May 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022,
yeah,
at $15 per capita.
second.
Thank you, Dave.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed on the same sign. Motion carries.
You got that?
Yes.
Now, 7 months.
Would be 5.
5 months times $7.
Yeah, 5 months at $7.
My original calculation.
Yes.
Your original.
Or actually, it's 54.
Which was
No, January, February,
$5,652.
Make a motion to,
Sorry.
Sorry,
I should have dug this out first.
make a motion to pay the Lake Mills EMS $5,632 for the months of January through May, or January through
April
April
30th.
30th.
Second.
This is getting
Any other
tough.
discussion? Was
Yeah.
that number was correct
Getting hot in
Yes.
here.
for the 5
Yes.
months per capita?
Yep.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Sorry about that. That was my bad. Okay. Discussion or decision to have an evaluation of the town hall property completed.
Yeah, they recommended that we go with a $520 one because the higher one really will not get any additional information that would be helpful, according to Dave Radel, who was on the facility committee.
Yeah, you'll get probably a 20-page report for the less one and a 240-page report for the bigger one, but there won't be any more information in it. basically.
So, how is this gonna differ from the comparison that was done, I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago?
It gives us something official to refer to.
Oh,
That's a good one. Guess I can make the motion since-
So it's $520
January, February, March, April.
is what the committee's recommending.
Is there a company attached to that, or is
Right.
it?
Yeah,
I didn't see that on
the
there.
company
Oh, shoot.
It's cut off.
cut off.
Hold on, let me see. I apologize. Printing from emails is not ideal. I have to remind them to send it via PDF. to show correctly here. From Arcus Real Estate Valuation, ARKVIS.
KES?
ARC VIS.
VIS. VIS. Arcvis.
Arcvis.
ARKVIS.
Okay. I'll make a motion to get an evaluation for $520 by Arcvis Realty
For the town hall?
for the town hall property.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision to propose guardrail at the south end of Crossman Road.
I lost
The other one that doesn't end.
my.
So there's a couple things from the initial email from Eric, from Corey, as to a couple states of process. It didn't look like bullet number 1 we qualified for because it's more listed for state highways, but bullet number 2 of preparing obtain a legal description and scale map of the project area of the property to be acquired. The town must adopt a resolution of necessity in satisfaction of the requirements of the Wisconsin Statute 32.051A. The resolution of necessity must be filed with the Jefferson County Clerk within 20 days of its adoption by the town board as required by the statute. Before sending a letter out and
Yep.
kind of skipping that process,
Well, he said that you really shouldn't skip that process.
which I would agree with.
So this is something that Corey would,
Corey's gonna have to do the description and the map, and then our attorney's gonna have to do the resolution of necessity
Right.
and start this whole process.
Yep.
So I make a motion that we proceed with obtaining the land through eminent domain and follow the process outlined by the town's attorney. And have the town's attorney and town's engineer work together to make this happen.
Second.
Any other discussion?
You know, I don't know. I see the danger, and there is some shoulder there, but then, and I don't know, is it new highway specs, or is it our town engineer? And I get it, for the safety aspect, but when you look at Highway A, 3 of us are gonna be going home that way, and now they got the grass cut, it gives a real good reminder of how steep that thing drops up.
Yeah.
So then you get to where Mud Lake runs through under Highway A. That for years and years and years, had guardrails on both sides.
Yeah.
When the county came in and and that was a bottomless bridge, and now they have a bottom, and they have just markers on the end. So, and I know this is going to be a little bit dangerous, but one, what if we do nothing? 2, what if we just went ahead and used the shoulder you had and put a guardrail up or a tension cable like they have along the interstate right near that blacktop? Maybe a foot or 2 foot off or whatever. Try to squeeze something in there and go that way.
didn't Corey already
Corey,
say-
yeah, what Corey said about both of those was the cable guard is gonna be worse than doing anything.
Right.
Yep, and I would agree.
I would agree, and he said, and then the second thing, I think the question we had was, and that was a long time ago,
For the
was,
maintenance of the backside of it.
yeah,
Right now, it's
maintenance
all
and
grass.
liability.
It's all grassed in, really nice, and looks good.
And he said, so could somebody, sue the town? Yes.
Yes.
Would you be liable? Probably no.
Personally, we would not, probably, yes. But
No, but he said as a township, probably not as well, but again,
So what happens when we have to maintain that backside? Or it has to be maintained because there's junk trees starting to grow or something? I think that's what you guys had talked about.
yeah, and I think we
before.
did discuss that as well. like how are we ever gonna, yeah.
Yeah, which would really be a tough thing anyway, unless you had somebody that had a pretty long
Yeah.
mower, because technically, if you get that easement, or if we purchase or whatever, we cannot go on the lower side, because that's gonna be part of the
That's-
2-to-1.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, I guess when I see that, I just, I'd start to wonder, not that we shouldn't move forward and not to plan any ideas, but just,
Well, I have trouble with it
Because-
too, I just, with the whole situation, to be honest, but it's not an easy spot to deal with from
I
number
asked
one.
Corey if there was another option as far as a concrete retaining, or concrete guardrail also, and he said that he looked at that earlier,
Yeah.
it's like $80,000. So,
we only got $39,000 left.
yeah, I know.
So it could be cheaper to go that route.
If you look at that, though, I was out on Sunday, where that's low again, Dave, where it always used to erode away,
Yeah, but
it's
slough.
starting to slough off.
It is, again.
Yeah, just look
Yeah,
at
once
that
it's
on
steep
the
side.
side, you can
Oh,
tell.
yeah,
It's gravel, there's grass, and then all of a sudden there's that gravel area, and there's a
Yeah.
little dip already.
Yeah.
So that's gonna just slough off
Yeah.
again.
And I'm okay with it, it's just,
I was wondering
I wonder.
if there's a way to make Crossman responsible. Say that we.
And I thought about that too.
We
but
tried.
I like to have the police officers be the bad guy. Now we're gonna be bad people.
Well, we tried to work with him, he refused, so
Yeah.
attorney write him a letter and tell him that any accidents, you're gonna be responsible. You don't wanna cooperate
Yeah, I
with
don't
the
know if
town.
we
Yeah.
can do that.
I know, we won't do it.
Can't legally do that, but it's,
Stubbornness here.
yeah, it's unfortunate, yeah.
I was kind of hoping, to tee that intersection, which I wanted that done for 20 years, and we finally got there, that would go away. Because it's a straight shot now. Other than always making the curve and coming around. And
Well, you're gonna have to get enough land so that you can get down below and maintain it. So,
yeah.
Corey mentioned 4-to-1. I know that the minimum's 2-to-1, but
Right.
I don't know if we're going after something and we're spending the money, you might as well go for the
Yeah, go for the big one.
Cadillac.
Yeah, 'cause
4-to-1.
then that would be a slope you could run on.
Yeah, you could drive and mow it, and
Yeah.
it'd be ours, and then if any maintenance, you can get down there with equipment and maintain the thing.
Hopefully it won't slough off anymore.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
Right.
that's where this map, we need to see that map.
Yep.
Get approval
Okay.
from the town board on that map.
Okay.
So we're at where we've had the motion, it's been seconded, I just need to call the question.
Yep. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okey-doke. Discussion or decision of, discussion or decision of annexation of property of corner of CHA and City HB.
There's nothing you can really do about this, it's a private owner requesting to be annexed to the city of Lake Mills, but all these things should come before the town board for our preview. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion and or decision of work on North End Pier. They put the pier in backwards,
Oh, they did.
so the hooks, there's only one hook on the outside. It's hard to find anybody to do any of this work. I was just gonna go out and, you can get the 2 hooks at Fleet Farm that are the same size as those other ones, and just drill them in.
Oh, so they want it to be welded on?
No, they're drilled through with
Oh, okay.
some kind of screw or bolt.
Mm.
I gotta look at it a little bit closer just to double check. Otherwise I can try to find a service to do it and see if they'll work on that post as well.
Oh, didn't they do that?
Not yet, no, I haven't found anybody yet to do
Oh.
that. Would've been nice to do it last year when the water was down. Now it's gonna be hard. And it's been windy every day,
So I suppose, let's see, now the county parks, they did the repair on those a couple of years ago. They probably don't do anything once they're installed.
No, they told me we wouldn't, the sleeve is probably bent in the water. So, and or it's, when it got hit, you know, a person came out and then it filled up with rocks or something. You know, I don't even know how you vacuum that stuff out, but.
I took an auger one time.
But there's other damage, like some of the bumpers, like, I actually
The only on an end
was
one.
out there with Alan, we shut that landing down that one day for a couple hours, because the last bolt that came off, he filled, and we barely got him out without a wrecker. The next guy that came in, they dropped, and they went down to Sandy. Well, he killed his motor, and he almost got killed because he jumped out of the boat and he was pinned between the boat and the rocks.
Oh, jeez.
Like trying to save his boat. And I'm like, don't worry about your boat.
Yeah.
And it took like 5 of us to get a hold of his boat, tied onto the pier. Well, his boat was smashing into those plastic bumpers and damaged some of those. And we had it tied on and it snapped the ropes. I mean, that's how violent it was.
And it had been windy all day. I
All
don't
day.
understand why they
Got
weren't
worse as the
even
day
out
went
there.
on. It was terrible out there. And so Alan ended up shuttling them back to get their raft and some other things they had to cut off of it to get control of that thing. But there was some damage done that day because these boats were trying to get off and there was just no way.
Do we need to find a contractor that can do the repair work?
Yeah. I'll just keep making some calls and see.
Did Dave's Turf and Marine have any idea who does that?
I
sort
thought
of
maybe
work?
Pat and Marine, I don't know, are they even, they're still around, right?
I don't know. What about Stairwell in town? Does he do any of that stuff?
He's semi-retired,
Oh.
or retired.
Well, I'll keep hunting around and see what I can find.
His brother from Watertown has a mobile unit, doesn't it? Sterile from Watertown has a mobile unit, if you want welding done.
I don't think there's any welding on this
Oh.
one. I don't think so, but don't quote me on it.
Okay,
Um,
what's next?
Yeah, there's gotta be somebody else that would imagine that does
so
this
I'll
sort
just
of
keep
work.
hunting until we find somebody, but.
Shouldering?
Yep, discussion or decision of hiring a contractor to touch up some shoulders. So, Bridle Path is getting pretty bad. There's a couple, like half roads, Shorewood Hills that are getting bad, and I'm sure there's a couple country roads, but I need to get some estimations on a couple of areas to touch up.
Yep, London Road, if you leave Highway A heading west, the first curve you come to on the south side of the road, that's getting on quite a drop off. London Road, will be west of Highway on the first curve that curves to the left.
Back to the July?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rush to
Let them know where
do
we're
it next
at.
month.
Budget
Yep,
wise.
Yep.
By then.
Yep, I agree.
All right, correspondence.
Pretty much everything's on the agenda for correspondence. Been fairly quiet.
I don't have any, I already reported the email to Susan, so.
Meeting schedule, we got the June 30th on there.
Meeting schedule?
Yeah,
July.
we had to add the June 30th meeting for the town hall facility. There's becoming more and more meetings, it's hard to remember to list all of them.
Town hall facilities?
Yeah, June 30th.
Oh, yeah.
And then it sounds like Joint Rock is changing the date of their meeting, which
To
I think
July
by
13th.
ordinance, yeah, by ordinance, I think we need to make sure that it's not commonly done.
Okay. Meeting scheduled, June 30th, Town Hall Facilities Committee. July 7th, 2022, Parks Committee meeting, 7 PM at the Town Hall. July 5th, 2022, Plan Commission meeting, 7 PM at the Town Hall. July 14th, Joint Rock Lake Committee meeting, 6 PM at the City Hall. July 12th, 2022, Town Board meeting, 7 PM at the Town Hall.
I believe the July 14th meeting for the Joint Rock got moved to the
13th.
13th.
Okay. Amend that, July 13th, 2022 for the Joint Rock Lake Committee meeting, 6 p.m. at the Town Hall.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.